Hey, I'm Mark.
And I'm Kendrick.
And this is Movies in Black and White.
So today we're going to be talking about our thoughts and opinions and overall love of the Joker movie.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely my favorite movie of 2019.
Really?
Yes.
Even over Endgame?
Even over Endgame.
Woo!
I liked the depth of the character. Just to be able to put that much passion on screen, you felt sorry for a man who tried so hard.
Yeah.
And he just, the system failed him. Found out his parents failed him.
Well, everybody failed him.
Everybody failed him. And he was still trying to hang on to, I'm going to be happy.
Yes.
I'm going to bring brightness to the world. And then
his form of happiness was a little...
It was a little crazy. It was crazy.
Crazy doesn't quite cover it. I'd go with more fucked up than anything.
Delusional, I understand it. And half the stuff, you look at some of the relationships he was having were in his mind.
No, that's true.
Some of the things he was seeing.
Well, spoiler alerts there.
Yeah, a little bit.
Bit much.
It's okay.
So, but anyways, so this is kind of just going to be our discussion about it. So we'll start off with our general thoughts about the movie, like how Mark already started going into that. We'll go into a little more detailed spoiler area, and then we'll give it an overall ranking of what we thought of it. Definitely if you guys should go see it or not, and give you a little bit of tidbits about it, like who directed it, who starred in it, how much money it's made so far, what its ranking is, and Rotten Tomatoes, which we'll talk about that whole thing at the end of this. But okay, so general thoughts, as you know, Mark obviously loved it, right?
I did, man.
Yeah, it's great.
I dug it.
I'm not too far off base on that. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was very, very happy with it. Like I was concerned when the first makeup test came out, and I was like, that makeup test, I don't know how to feel about that. He just looks like a clown.
Exactly.
But then it grew on me as more set photos came out and you got to see him.
Right.
And then when you got to actually see him in action, that first trailer, like, all right, I'm sold, I'm in, I'm all in. And then actually watching the movie itself, it was such a... I don't really like throwing around the word masterpiece because it's all up to perspective and that,
it is up to perspective, but there are
stuff.
certain things that you have to just acknowledge as truth.
Technical movie, on the technical side of it, the way it was filmed, the way this was broken down, it was a masterpiece in that sense. It was a masterpiece in filmmaking. I didn't really have any problem with the story beats whatsoever. There was no slow parts for me. It was overall a slow movie. But that was to build the tension, build the understanding of the character. And then when it finally went off the rails, it was scary yet fun.
Exactly. It went off the rails. I mean, the quintessence of what happened in the movie is when he becomes Joker. And if you get to see this movie, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but when you go to see this movie and he's strolling down the stairs, the music that is playing is absolutely fantastic.
Oh, that
scene. It is fantastic.
I don't think I'll ever watch that scene and not laugh, but be like totally terrified. Because if you think about that scene, it just see a guy strolling down, jamming out like he was jamming out with no music playing. You're just like, well, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Yes. It would terrify you. You'd be like, all right, I'm gonna go this way. I'll see y'all later, deuces. Yeah. But in the movie, it worked perfectly. Like there wasn't a part of that movie that didn't work, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
I mean, there was never a dull moment. All the twists and turns were fantastic. You never knew exactly what was going on.
Exactly. To understand that him being the Joker, him being named Joker, you see the turn and you see Joker moments that are like, okay, that solidifies him as Joker. Yep. And then there's a twist.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
And then there's some things that go on that, I can't spoil it for you, but
we'll talk about spoilers here in a little bit.
Yeah.
But one of the things that most people were going to be upset by this movie, I wasn't, because I'm open for any new interpretation of anything. Like somebody put the time and effort into making this movie. I'm going to watch it for what it is and enjoy it and try to understand where they came from.
Especially if it makes sense.
Absolutely. And this movie made sense. But it is not your typical comic book Joker. There is no ace chemicals. There's no, falling into a vat of acid and turning skin white. He is just a guy that has problems and puts on clown makeup and becomes this symbol for this movement of anarchy. And that's essentially the Joker's anarchy. Like
that's
you're not, the great thing about Joker, even in the comic books, there's no origin to this man.
Exactly.
And this movie does throw into question everything that you see, because you don't know if he's just making up in his mind or not.
And that's what makes the Joker such a iconic character, and it makes him that much creepier.
Well, there's a reason he
And
stood
that
the
much
test of time
sinister.
with Batman.
Exactly.
There's a reason he's still Batman's #1 foe.
Right.
But I mean, as a whole, I love the movie. I would definitely go see it multiple times. Yeah, absolutely, multiple times. I don't think I'd ever get bored with that movie.
I don't either, because I think you could find nuances and new things in every viewing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because there's so many things that Joaquin Phoenix is doing on the screen. So many things in the screenplay itself that allows you to just go into another world and enter this man's world.
Yes.
And say, okay, I can not totally identify, but you can identify a bit with this man's struggle.
Well, everybody's been bullied at some point
Right.
in time in life, and this man is constantly bullied. He's misunderstood. I don't remember the exact term they had for his ailment in the movie that makes him laugh out in public, but he was constantly bullied for it.
Right.
Absolutely. I mean,
Constantly.
that scene on the bus where he's entertaining that kid, and the mom turns around and starts berating him for just, trying to brighten her son's day up, and he starts laughing, and he has to give her that card. It was truly a heart-wrenching moment, and just like, dang, like that's rough, like, and nobody understands him.
Exactly.
So the movie did a really good job of making you feel for him, but there is also a fine line where he finally crosses it, and you're like, okay, I can't
feel
back
sorry
this
for
guy
you
anymore.
Exactly.
And
You've just gone past a certain point to where anybody can say, yeah, I understand. No,
Yeah.
you can't understand that.
Yeah, it's like, I get where he's coming from, but at the same token, like, you can't do that to people.
Exactly.
You just can't. I don't care how mean they were to you. You can't go off the walls like that. This is what happened when somebody comes totally unhinged, and it's really a warning letter to people, like, hey, treat people with love and respect, because you never know what they're capable of.
You never know who's going to come in and just go, hey, I've had enough. Pseudobulbar effect is the name of the illness.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Uncontrollable laughter.
He did great with that. He truly did. Joaquin nailed every aspect of this role. He lost, I think it was 50 pounds for the role. He was skin and bones. Truly skin and bones. And, I mean, he committed to this role. And you could tell. If there's not a best actor nomination for this man, I'm a boycott. Like,
that is insane.
This is unreal.
It is time to get over the idea that comic book movies cannot have these things. I mean, Black Panther did a great job with it.
And if there's anything to break this trend, it's gonna be this movie, because it's not comic book enough to not be considered mainstream, but it's also artsy enough to be considered Academy Award winning potential. And that was the perfect balance for these award nominations. I think the awards are rigged to begin with, but I also think that Robert Downey Jr. should be up for the Academy. But Joaquin truly deserves this.
Definitely. I mean, you look at movies that we thought would do very well at the Academy, like Logan, because it was such a departure. It was a comic book movie, a superhero movie, but it was a departure from your normal superhero movie. This is taking that bit further and going, look, this is a social commentary. This is a personal struggle movie. This is all these things in one, and it just so happens to be about a character that is made famous in comic books.
Absolutely. Well, and like we say, it's not entirely based on the world of comic books, but there is enough references to keep people like Mark and I truly happy when it comes to comic book references. Like the whole Bruce Wayne thing, I was just like, yes, thank you. This is perfect. I'm 110% behind this. Even come the ending when when it went down, I was like, yep, okay.
Crime Alley was represented
perfectly. Perfectly. Now, the movie was violent, to say the least. Like, it was, as a grown man who loves Rambos and loves just great action movies, this one made me like, oh my God, I'm so happy there's no children in this theater, because they would be scarred for life.
And I've given that advice to people. People have said, hey, the kids wanted to see Joker. No, this is not that movie.
It's a sad state of affairs when the first people ask you, how was Joker? And I say, I was just happy there was no kids in the theaters.
Right.
Because the last several art movies I went and seen, I saw Rambo and I saw John Wick.
Yes.
And every single one of them had children. In chapter 2.
Kids.
And there was kids in the theater. I was just like, as a man that's about to have my first child, I could never imagine taking my kid to a rated movie. Yeah, I'd kick my own ass personally.
Yeah.
But it's brutal. It will make you cringe. It will make you go, holy shit, that just happened. But it'll also make you laugh at certain points. Like there are certain moments that are played for comedic effect,
exactly,
and played well. But the part where you're also like, I feel bad for laughing
at that
because that was rough.
Oh my gosh,
it was like I said, it was a masterpiece in almost every sense of the word.
Right.
Everybody, cast from top to bottom was amazing. Truly.
Even the smaller bit players.
Yeah.
You had the guys from the clown organization.
Yes.
They played great parts. They added so much character, color, and flavor to the movie.
Zazie Beetz was awesome. Beetz was great, and she was not in it that much. As much as the trailers played her up, she was not in that much.
Yeah.
Robert De Niro killed it, as always, as Murray Franklin, which that was possibly the best scene in the whole movie. Like that was. Penny, the lady that played Penny Fleck, Arthur's mom,
she did a fantastic job.
what she was given, how little she was given, she played it up. You could tell that this dude comes from sickness.
Some messed up stuff.
Brett Cullen as Thomas Wayne was really good. It was definitely a different take on Thomas Wayne. You usually see him as the more charismatic, calm,
peace loving. Just
it wasn't the Dark Knight towel.
Yeah, exactly.
Thomas Wayne. It was more of a guy that will punch you in the face if you piss him off, and I appreciate that because you don't want nobody in your grill like that. You can't tell me that somebody's gonna come up to you and start doing
and
this
you're
stuff.
Gonna just cower down, especially as a man. We understand guys of that ilk.
Yes,
it's like okay, you've made billions of dollars. You've had to step on some heads. To do this.
Well, you're not always gonna be a perfect person, no matter what, and you have your bad days just like anybody else. And somebody comes at you like that, it's gonna go down. Like don't know what to tell you. But it like the direction. Todd Phillips, whoever would have expected the guy that made the Hangover movies
to come out with
this. Oh my Lord.
If you could say, okay, I want you to make the complete opposite, not in quality, but the complete opposite in focus and genre to the Hangover and go, wow, this is a range you have right here.
To be fair, the Hangover movies had their dark moments where they played for comedic effect, and that was a strength, like we talked about, that was shown in this movie.
Right.
I mean, he was flexing.
Yes.
In this movie.
Yes.
Every sense of the word. He was like, all right, I'm not just known for comedic films. I'm coming out swinging with this one, and he killed it. Like truly killed it from top to bottom. He didn't skip a beat, and it shows. And I can't wait to see more from him.
Right.
Especially now. I mean, like I said, he's mostly done comedies. He's done Old School, Starsky and Hutch, The Hangovers, Due Date. I think the only one I haven't seen War Dogs.
War Dogs was fantastic.
Was it?
Absolutely wonderful.
But it was more of a comedy too.
It was more on the lines, like you said, a comedy of darkness.
Yeah.
It was played up for a comedic effect, and Jonah Hill, awesome in it.
Yeah.
Who's the other character? I forget.
It was Miles Teller.
Miles Teller.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was an incredible take on just, hey, a couple of guys said, wait a second, we're going to take advantage of this system. And he directed it fantastically. So
truly, truly great. Like this man, he deserves some sort of recognition for this. I'm not going to say best director, but definitely he should be up there. Yeah, something should come of this.
There's no way this movie should not walk away with several awards. I mean, overall, the platforms.
Yes, absolutely. It was a ride.
Yes, it was.
Talking of the spoiler territory area, it was the first time he killed somebody. It was kind of a shock.
It was.
It blew our minds, quite literally.
And honestly, it almost blew his mind.
Well, it blew the guy's mind that he shot. Yeah, it was, and then when he started dancing afterwards, like, come to find out, that was entirely Joaquin's idea.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was supposed to go into that bathroom and just wash the makeup off his face.
Wow.
But somebody was playing music. Or they played a clip of the composer's score for the movie.
Right.
And he just started dancing. And they said, let's use that. Exactly. And that's when the whole dancing part came about. And that score, holy shit, was it sinister.
It was fantastic.
It was great.
It was sinister.
It was perfect for the movie. But, like, I always listen to scores the second they come out. Before the movie. I even get to see the movie. And I was listening to that score. And I told one of my friends, I was like, this is going to be a sick movie because just the music alone, music for movies will either make or break a movie.
Yes,
it enhances the whole visual effect behind the movie. It enhances everything about it. It ties the package together.
It does.
If you have bad music in a movie, it just doesn't work. This music was perfect for this film, and I can't wait to hear more of that composer. And I'm trying to remember her name. I'm pretty sure it was a she. It was Hildur. I'm gonna butcher this fucking last name. Gunatori. I can't pronounce it. It was something crazy,
Yeah.
but it was killer. Like, it was definitely killer music.
Yeah.
Or at least I got it right. It was a woman. So I don't know what she's really been known for, but I can tell you this is probably her first big movie. Oh, Sicario. She's done the Sicario movies.
Good.
But this is probably her first big movie. Sicario was a big movie, but this one it's taken the world by storm, if I have to say. Because it's what was it now? What did I tell you? The
563 or 590?
$563 million, verging on 564, and it's only been out for 2 weeks.
Yeah, worldwide earnings. I mean, that's incredible.
It is absolutely nuts.
For a movie that people were so doubting and really unsure of before it came out.
The backlash before it even came out was unreal. I mean, the whole aspect, like, I get that the Colorado shootings back in 2012 with The Dark Knight Rises, everybody thought that he was basing that action off the Joker, so everybody was obviously concerned about this. And I even know at my theater, I saw a few extra cops. They had beefed up security. They had made it well known in the news, which, if you ask me, that was just asking for trouble to put that all over the news. Like, by the way, we're thinking everybody's going to get shot up at these movie theaters. For that kind of mentality being thrown out there, people showed up, and they showed in packs. I mean, my theater was pretty full. You saw it last week?
Yeah,
and it was still pretty packed.
It was still packed.
So I can't wait to see what this movie ends with worldwide.
Yeah,
want to take a guess?
I'm gonna say it's gonna make about 150 more million.
You think so?
So
roughly around 700.
Yeah.
I'd agree. It depends on how long it stays in theaters.
Right.
You know, we're in the dry season right now. The only good ones really that are being promoted a lot is Terminator, which will probably kill.
Yeah.
Knives Out, which will be great.
Oh, that's going to be fantastic.
Star Wars. So, I mean, it depends on how long it stays in theaters, but I could see it making maybe 150, 200 more mil.
Right.
Maybe. Anywhere between 8 to... It'd be great if it made $1 billion. I highly doubt it.
Amazing.
I truly highly doubt it, but that would be something special. Especially for this movie coming out. Everybody's saying, oh, it's going to be garbage. It's going to be too dumb. Nope.
Right.
Perfect. Now, speaking of masterpieces, though, critics have not been kind to this movie.
No.
This was 68% on Rotten Tomatoes.
68%.
Which...
it's not certified fresh.
For Mark and I, we're not a big critic people. We don't listen to critics really because we'd rather just judge the movie for ourselves, and I highly recommend that everybody listening always judge movies based on their own opinion and the merits of actually watching it. But it goes a long way when you start seeing movies like this where the critics are scoring it as 69, which is good, but not the score it deserves. I mean, it deserves to be in the 90s with the certified fresh rating.
I agree.
And the audience score is giving it an 89.
Yeah.
Which,
so, I mean, the popular opinion has to win out in this. I mean, it has to win out in most movies. You're going to get in and say, okay, as a critic, and say, oh, it didn't have this for this, and it didn't have, the right lighting here, or the right, effect here. Well, guess what? It didn't, even if it didn't take away from the movie and the performance. The performance is what really solidifies this as a great movie.
Oh, yeah. Well, even then, you don't know what the director was going for.
Right.
And I get that's their whole job as critics, is to pick this stuff apart. But you gotta give the credit where credit's due and say that this was a phenomenal movie. It kept you interested. It kept you in it. Right. And then it blew your mind when shit hit the fan.
Yes, it really did.
I mean...
And, for people who are Joker fans, comic book Joker fans, you get a payoff.
Oh, yeah.
You get a serious payoff. It doesn't go down and go, oh, we're just going to leave you flat. We're going to do this. It gives you that moments.
For the big spoiler fans out there, and if you don't want to hear this, I'd suggest not listening for the next 4 or 5 minutes. But the big payoff for the movie is he starts a revolt, pretty much, unintentionally. So he killed some people that were bullying him, and they were truly being hateful, bullying. They were beating him, and he defended himself at first.
Right.
But he was wearing clown makeup, and he shot these two guys that were beating him up, and then hurt another guy, and then chased him down. And that was the line that was like, okay, we're starting to cross territory. Executed him, and then he eventually killed his own mom. And at that point, you're like, all right, I'm off board with this guy. I'm out. But then I think grand total, he ended up killing six people.
Right.
Yeah, that's about right. And for Joker, that's not a lot. I mean, Joker's executed audiences of people before.
His body count's very high.
But the way he did it was brutal, devastating, truly Jokerish. But the whole revolt ends up causing anarchy in the city. Pure anarchy. Everybody's, killing everybody else. They're destroying streets. They're flipping over cars.
Right.
And then when he gets arrested and they rescue him, it was fucking nuts. Like,
rescue him.
Nuts.
And, when I first saw the movie, I was like, accidentally kill him? I mean,
that got hit pretty fucking hard there. That car should be caved in.
Yeah, no seatbelt on. You're slamming around the back of a police car. So, it was like that. But then the resurrection happens.
Oh, and then when he stood on top of that car
and danced.
But that wasn't even the best part of that whole scene.
No,
the best part was the Bruce Wayne scene.
Exactly.
Bruce's family was leaving. So the typical origin story for Bruce is he got scared in a movie, or the opera and the Dark Knight movies. Right. He got scared of the movie and they left.
Right.
Early, and they end up going down the alley and they end up getting mugged and killed by Joe Chill. Mm-hmm. If you go by the 1989 Batman movie, the Joker killed him, but it's kind of alluded to strongly, but never guaranteed, because the Joker's kind of always a mysterious character. But because the riots are going on, they're leaving home early and they're going down that alley. Well, somebody in a clown mask kills Thomas and his wife, Martha, right?
In the exact fashion as you see in the comic books.
Well, in Batman vs. Superman did it really well too. They shoved that gun up there, popped the gun, the pearls pulled off, and it was a brutal scene. It was devastating. And then, the last scene you see of Bruce is kneeling over his parents, just covered in, I think he was covered in blood. And just looking at him like, what just happened? Truly devastated. Like, you could see, this is how Batman began. And I would love to see more expanded upon with that if they do a sequel, but I don't think they're going to.
I think he's going to say, you know what? It's not supposed to have a sequel.
It was supposed to be a standalone movie. Yeah.
And it introduced the idea of the Joker. He introduced him as the start and the catalyst for it. But the Joker will rise out of this anarchy. So it's a really great idea.
And the crazy thing is too, I don't think they expected it to do as well as it has, because I was reading an article the other day, and you'll have to forgive me for not remembering the source, but they said something along the lines that they were so concerned that they weren't going to get the funding for this movie that was half produced by Warner Brothers and half produced by another company. So now they're having to split the box office income of the movie, and they're kicking themselves now. Obviously, and they should be kicking themselves, because this was a huge hit. They should I miss the days when they would commit to directors and commit to the story and just be like, we're all in, like Star Wars. The 20th Century Fox executive at that time backed that movie.
Right.
Completely backed it. He was not willing to give an inch. He said, this is going to be the greatest movie that's ever made.
Wow. And
he kept to his guns. Well, eventually he quit because of it. He couldn't take the backlash from the board anymore.
Okay, yeah.
But, that kind of commitment usually pays off, especially if you have something special in your hands, which this was. I could imagine reading that script and be like, this is the shit right here. This is going to do well. They didn't, now they're paying for it.
Yes.
But it was, I don't think they had sequels in mind when they made it, which is good. Usually the best movies that don't have sequels in mind are the best stories, because it has a beginning, middle, and end. You can always leave stuff open, little tiny threads, but you want to close the main thread, and I think that's what most movies struggle with these days, is closing the main thread. They leave too much open for sequels, and everybody's like, well, there's no payoff here. I'm not invested anymore. This one sets itself up for a potential sequel, especially with the Batman. And I don't think it would, even if they go for a sequel, I don't think it'll connect to the possible Robert Pattinson movie that's coming out in 2021, I believe.
Right.
Which would be great to have two Batman-centered movies coming out at the same time. One that's more Joker-focused, with a different, darker, meaner Batman that's
Right.
willing to fuck people up.
Exactly.
Compared to, which will probably be a PG-13, family-friendly Batman
Exactly.
movie, which
Driving for the masses.
it's done well in the past. I've always been keen on seeing a rated R Batman movie because Batman's a brutal character.
It is.
He's borderline.
He is a very brutal
He's
character.
borderline Punisher.
Yeah.
If he would just break his rule of killing, and he has in the past,
Right.
which is why I don't understand when Ben Affleck's one came out, Batman v Superman, and Batman was executing people, and everybody was throwing a fit.
Like,
Batman doesn't kill. The fuck he doesn't.
He used to kill, especially in the original comics.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He used to kill a lot.
Well, even if killing some of these people is a mercy compared to
Yes.
what he does to them now. I mean, he breaks femurs, he breaks collarbones, he breaks every bone in their bodies, and these people are going to be held up in hospitals for the rest of their lives because of what he's done to them.
Right.
So, mercy's it's almost a mercy to kill him, in my opinion. But I like to see Batman go full out,
Right.
and I would love to see that, especially if they do a Joker sequel.
Yes.
Now, okay, let's do a little bit of a fantasy cast right now, just because we're in the conversation. Who would you pick to play opposite of Joaquin Phoenix as Batman in a Joker sequel if they were to do it?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's a good one, huh? I'm proud of that question.
That's a very good question.
Obviously, I'd love to have Todd Phillips come back and direct it. That would be
too.
great.
As a grittier Batman than most of the ones we've seen. Wow.
Which Ben Affleck was pretty gritty.
He was gritty.
In Batman v Superman he was, and then Justice League came out, and that was a different story.
Yeah,
but that's a story for a different time.
Yeah. Wow, that is a fantastic question that I have to think about because.
Well, here's the thing: he's gonna have to be younger than Joaquin.
Well, yeah,
and
yeah,
I mean, this is gonna be a weird one, but I could see this working because this man, he personifies grizzled in my mind, an angry person, Tom Hardy.
I thought about that.
Yeah,
I thought about that, but I'm like going, okay,
Yeah, he played Bane.
Yeah, exactly.
So what? I mean,
but you covered up his face.
In this day and age, you know, you have people playing multiple characters across franchises, anyways. I mean, hell, look at Gemma Chan. She was in Gemma Chan. That's her name, right? She was in Captain Marvel, and now she's going to be in the Eternals.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So I mean, it's for a movie like this, I could see people getting over it very quickly.
Yes, I could
especially with the fact that Tom Hardy's attached to something like that. That would be nuts.
Yeah,
that would just be that would be my grizzled Batman that I could see messing people's days up, no questions asked.
Right.
So, what do you think?
Jeez,
it's a hard question, is it?
Still looking at.
You want to think about it for a minute?
Yeah. I do.
Okay. So, as a whole, the movie was fantastic. I would definitely recommend seeing it in theaters if you can get to it. If you get to see it a second time, would be even better because, like Mark said, there's going to be a lot of nuances that you're going to pick up on multiple viewings. That even sitting here playing it back in my head weeks later after watching it, I still notice things in my head that I was like, man, I wish I would have noticed that right then and there. And I want to go see it again just to make sure I was right in my my assumptions of certain things because it makes you question it. And that to me is the best sign of a good movie. Is if you're thinking about it weeks after the fact and questioning everything you saw. I mean, there's very few movies that do that to this effect nowadays.
Exactly. I mean, like you said, it drew you in so much that you just had to have some questions. You had to say, wow, was that exactly what they really wanted to do or meant by that? Or wait a second, this is just almost a pantomime of what is happening right now and what things are going on. So it's like,
see, and it drives me nuts too because I love absolutes. I hate the gray area. I can't do it because I don't leave anything up to chance. For me personally, it drives me nuts. So I love knowing every little facet and detail of like, okay, this is exactly what they meant. But this movie's riddled with gray, and I will never know. And I'm going to have to come to terms with that. And as much as I would love to grab Todd Phillips, like, what were you thinking
of this?
What was the point of this whole thing? It's never gonna happen, so I'm okay. I'm gonna have to come to terms with that. But it was, man, what a ride.
Here's a pick, and I think it's gonna be a little strange because people are like, okay, number one, he's getting a little bit older, but he's not younger than Joaquin Phoenix, and you can't make it that way.
Yeah.
But as a grizzled Batman, I think Daniel Craig would do a great job.
Oh my God, why didn't I think of him?
I mean, he's especially after the last James Bond movie.
Oh,
you could just see how
the last several James Bond movies. Every one of his Bonds are perfect.
It's fantastic.
That to me is the epitome of James Bond. Like,
Yeah,
I know everybody's
I
like,
think so,
Sean
too.
Connery, Roger Moore. Nope. Daniel Craig.
Daniel
And then
Craig.
right behind him, for me, would be Sean Connery and then Timothy Dalton.
Right. Because all of them had that quality of, your classic gentleman and everything, but a killer.
Yeah.
Killer.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you look at Daniel Craig's 007, you doubt nothing about his killer instinct.
Yeah. No, you see it in his eyes.
Yeah.
And like, that's impressive for an actor to pull that off, that look. And he nails it. It's so,
wow.
Could you imagine being in an alley doing a drug deal, which neither of us have ever done drug deals,
Right.
Full disclosure, but could
do
you imagine, and then having that guy come up behind you, grab you, flip you around, and see this just terrifying man in this costume that's roided out, jacked to the limits, and see those eyes staring into you, and be like, oh my God, I'm okay, yep, take whatever you need, beat the shit out of me, just don't kill me, please. I don't want this to be the last thing I see.
Yeah, exactly.
Daniel Craig, that's a good pick.
That's a very...
I like that. That's a good one. Damn, I want to see that movie now.
Yeah, I mean,
make it happen.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, somebody out there, make this movie happen.
Oh Lord, it'd probably be a while before they even decide to make a sequel to this one.
Yeah, even if they do.
For this day and age, though, it seems like there's sequels for everything. So I'd be truly happy if they just left that alone. I
would too, because there are so many things that were in-depth and shocking and just drew you in so much. It's lightning in a bottle.
It really is.
You should not try to tamper with it.
If there was anybody ever to catch lightning in a bottle twice, it would probably be that crew, the writers, the director, Joaquin, the whole 9 yards.
I agree.
They could probably pull it off. Do I want them to try it and potentially mess it up? No, I do not, because it's too good of a movie as a standalone. Like we talked about the gray area. That movie's full of it.
Right.
If you make a sequel, you're gonna have to define a few things. Adding that definition to that movie may take away some of the magic of it.
Oh, it would. I think so. I think it would take away, everything in that movie took you on a ride. It lulled you along for a while and said, okay, this is, it's a little slow, but it's a likable character. It's a guy, something's going to go wrong with it.
Absolutely.
You understand it.
Yep.
But the journey into that going wrong is like, he draws you into feeling for him.
Yep.
And it's like, I can identify in some ways with this character because life is hard and life is tough, and he's been dealt this horrible hand.
Yep.
And he's like, I'm still giving my college try to make sure it goes
and they
better.
did a really good job of showing that too. Like his whole counselor meetings, even getting kicked off his meds, the whole 9 yards. He was trying, and then it's like, you know what? The flip switched, and he was.
Fuck it.
Yep. Game over, motherfuckers. I tried. Like, can't say I didn't try, but even then, it's like, you should have tried a little harder, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
A little harder. But okay, one last question.
Go ahead.
What's your favorite scene of the movie? Got you again.
I gotta say, I gotta say, the apartment scene.
Yeah. Damn it.
The apartment scene says, that's when I truly looked at him and said, okay, that's a true Joker moment.
Yep.
I kill this one guy. Oh, no, but you can go. You're okay. I'm good. And in that scene, you sit back and you go, okay, is he really going to let this guy go?
No.
Or is he going to keep him in here and do this? And I'm not going to spoil the big part of the scene that really got the laugh, but it's funny.
Oh, it was great. I have to say my favorite scene is a toss-up. It's I think I said earlier, is the Merle Franklin scene where he's on the talk show. That was fantastic. Especially the way it ended. It was like, oh, okay, that just happened. Or the spoiler, the scene where you find out Zazie Beetz was a figment of his imagination the whole time as far as their dating aspect goes. He had met her earlier in the movie, had a moment with her which was creepy as fuck.
Yeah.
But then they start dating, but come to find out it was all just just a figment of his imagination. You're like, oh shit, like. That's some in-depth imagination. Like, that's pretty impressive.
You've been fooling us.
Like,
you're crazy. You've been crazy for a while.
Oh,
wow.
That's I bet that dude could write a book just based off the voices in his head.
Oh, certainly. Certainly. But that is a testament to both Todd Phillips and Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
Pulling that off so believably.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like, you had no idea. You thought, this could have possibly been. She could have felt sorry for him.
Yeah.
She could have been like, hey, you know what, Arthur? you're crazy a little bit, but you're that bright spot.
Well, he was a nice guy to certain aspects. He took care of his mother. Yes. He tried really hard. Right. He loved being a clown and making people happy.
Yes.
But he was also fucking bad shit crazy too. Yeah. So if she would have found that out, which she did, it was whew.
No thanks. No, thank you.
I don't think anybody wants to deal with that.
No.
All right,
no,
so
they don't.
Rate it. Give it a score out of a 10. Let's go with that.
I don't want to be overzealous or cliche.
Yeah.
So I have to give it. I mean, I'd have to give it an 8.4.
Really?
I give it an 8.4.
That is not as high as I was giving it. I was giving it at least a 9.6. Like, I mean, it's up there for me.
But I look at it like this. I'm one of those people who goes, okay, 10s are like
tens should technically be impossible.
Exactly, you're no 10s. So I'm like going, there are really not going to be very many 9s. Yeah. This was a movie that I truly savored, like you said.
Yeah.
Weeks later, you think about it. Days later, you think about it.
Yeah.
Those are the type of movies that are, yes, those go in your top list.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I said, 9.6 for me.
Good.
It was you probably will never see me give a 10.
Right.
It doesn't happen because, like we said, there's no perfect movie out there.
Right.
It's exactly. It's all up for interpretation. Like my idea of a perfect movie is one that makes me laugh, could possibly make me cry, and I'm gonna remember forever.
Yes, there has got to be some memorable moments in the movie.
As for a glorified perfect movie, I couldn't picture that because you're never gonna see it. Probably you're gonna see your idea of a perfect movie, but you never see the perfect movie. And don't let anybody ever tell you anything different because it doesn't exist. But like we said, definitely recommend it.
Oh, certainly.
We'd love to see it again.
I go beyond recommending it. I say it's a must see.
Yes.
I mean, if you have just the desire to have a quality start to finish movie in your life, you have to see Joker. You have to. It appeals to everybody. I mean, it appeals to everyone on every level.
That's just true. And you said it was your number one movie of the year so far.
Yeah.
Which that's impressive because this year's been
it's
heavy hitters left and right.
Lots of good ones.
Not many that were, I'd say, drama filled and more artsy like this one.
I think, and that's the reason I go, okay, the depth of this movie makes it that for me.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. So those are our thoughts on the Joker. You know, like we said, definitely recommend it. It's a must see for anybody that's a fan of the character, by any stretch, or anybody that's a fan of drama. In general. Because you're not going to see, if you don't like superhero movies, but you love dramas, this is perfect for you.
Exactly.
Because it does not heavy-handed on the superhero aspect.
No.
There are tidbits for people like us that love superhero movies that just enhance the movie for you. But if you don't like superhero movies, you're not going to miss that because it's just a good movie all the way around.
Exactly.
So, we love to hear what your guys' thoughts are. Ping us give us comments. We'll do our best to answer them give you the rest of our sentiments on it because I'm sure we could go on for this
I think
another 2 hours if we got the chance. But unfortunately, we got jobs and I got a pregnant wife I got to get back to.
Yeah, and I got grandkids.
So all right. Well, this has been Movies in Black and White for our Joker review, and we'll be seeing you guys soon.
I'm Mark.
I'm Kendrick, and we'll talk to y'all later.